Today, we will delve into the 9 things people experience at the moment of death. When a loved one passes, their family is often left with many questions. How are they feeling? Where are they now? Have they found the light? Are they at peace? Are they okay? While the memories can bring both pain and comfort, the emptiness in the heart speaks to the love that was shared. Love never truly dies. It only transforms. If you have lost a loved one, maybe when you close your eyes you can still feel their presence, and surely when you think about them, your heart fills with pain. If you have felt this way, this video is for you. Today I'm going to share the 9 things that people physically see when they pass away. The information in this video comes directly from the Bible, but also from reports of people who have had near-death experiences, NDEs. These are people who sometimes reach a state of clinical death, but then come back to life and are able to explain what they saw when they died. Let's start with the first thing people see when they die. Number 1, they see loved ones who passed before them. Right in that second, when the breath stops and the heart beats for the last time, something extraordinary happens. First, at the moment of death, the person sees their loved ones who passed before them. As they die, they clearly see them waiting to guide them toward the light, leading them with peace and joy. Imagine your loved one on their deathbed, their eyes closing, but then opening to a new world. There, in the twilight between life and death, familiar faces appear, those who left before. It's not a dream or a hallucination. They are truly there, waiting, as if they knew the time had come. That place where they wait is also a place sheltered by God, because God is not the God of the dead, but of the living, for to him all are alive. According to Ecclesiastes, the spirit returns to its origin, where the loved ones are. Then the dust returns to the earth as it was, and the spirit returns to God who gave it. The person who is dying sees them clearly, with no doubt. These loved ones who passed before are there to guide them. There is no fear, no loneliness, only an indescribable peace and a warm light enveloping the scene. Psalm 36 also reinforces this idea. For with you is the fountain of life. In your light we see light. Some have reported moments when the deceased sees the light, and those who accompany the dying person, still alive, may feel something, a sweet, floral scent that fills the room. It is a sign, a whisper from the beyond, a manifestation of those spirits who have come to take their loved one to a place of peace. I want to pause briefly to encourage you to write in the comments. It can help others if you share your experience with loved ones who have passed away, even if it's just to explain how much you miss them. Many people watching this video will be going through a tough time after losing a loved one, and reading your experience may comfort them and help them feel they are not alone. By doing this, you can help others who are watching this video and are seeking to feel understood, knowing that others are going through the same thing. For example, you can explain the pain you felt or still feel after losing someone close, or what you did to overcome the loss, or perhaps share advice that others gave you that helped you at the time. One of your comments could help many people. Now let's continue. We were talking about how sometimes when a loved one passes away, those around them may notice a faint floral scent. This is a moment full of tension and drama, a clash between the earthly and the divine. It forces us to reflect on the fragility of our existence and on what truly matters at the end of the road. Because in those final moments, wealth, achievements, and daily worries fade away. All that remains is love, the invisible bond that unites us to those who passed before us. And so, at the moment of death, a truth is revealed that we must all face. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me, your rod and your staff, they comfort me. There is nothing more powerful than love that transcends death, a love that knows no limits or boundaries. And in the end, we will all reunite in that light, guided by those who went before us, because death is not the end, but the beginning of a new journey. Number 2, the feeling of detachment from material possessions. Another sensation experienced by those who are about to die is that all the material things in their life cease to matter. And that is a good thing because it allows them to transcend directly without any issues. Imagine the last breath of your loved one, the moment when everything they know dissolves into nothingness. In that precise moment, as life slips away like sand through fingers, something astonishing happens. The material world, everything that was once important, loses its value. The house they loved, the car they cared for, the jewelry, the titles, the accomplishments, all of it fades in an instant. None of it matters anymore. It's as if at the threshold of death a truth is revealed that has been ignored throughout life. When someone is about to die, a brutally honest clarity takes hold of their mind. In that moment, they understand that the possessions, the wealth, and the goods they work so hard to accumulate are merely shadows, illusions that carry no weight at the doorway between life and death. For we brought nothing into the world, and we can take nothing out of it. This verse resonates powerfully in that instant when the dying person lets go of all material things. It is a release, a final severance from the earthly world that allows them to move forward without chains into the unknown. It is a moment of pure, raw truth. Everything they fought for, everything that once caused worry, simply evaporates. What truly matters is not intangible things. It is not the large house, the money in the bank, nor the objects that once defined their identity. What good is it for someone to gain the whole world, yet forfeit their soul? This question suddenly takes on overwhelming meaning. In the end, all that remains is the naked soul, free from the bonds of the world. And this is where the reflection becomes deep, almost universal. Deep down, we all know that there is something beyond the material, something that transcends the physical world. It is a feeling we share, even if we sometimes forget it amidst the hustle of daily life. Death reminds us of this truth in a way we cannot ignore. In that moment, we understand that true wealth is not in what we own, but in what we are, in what we carry in our hearts and souls. This detachment from material things is not a punishment but a blessing. It allows us to cross over without burdens, without weights that drag us into darkness. It prepares us for a meeting with the eternal, with the divine. Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth where moths and vermin destroy, and where thieves break in and steal. But store up for yourselves treasures in heaven. In death, this teaching becomes reality. It is then that the light shines brighter and the soul, freed from earthly bonds, ascends to the infinite. This is the final act of liberation at the end of the road. Only what truly matters remains. The material dissolves, and the soul prepares for the great journey. It is a reminder for all of us that in life, what is essential is not what we possess, but what we are, the love we give, and the peace we carry within us. For in the end, that is the only wealth we can take with us. Let's move on to the third thing people see when they die. Number 3, they see their own body from above. Thirdly, when people physically die, they often see their body from above, observing all the people present. They see them crying, suffering, and witness everything happening around them. At that moment, they perceive everything, hear everything, and feel everything. They may even bid farewell to their loved ones. Imagine for a moment that life, with all its pain and beauty, comes to an end. Your loved one takes their last breath, and what happens next is beyond imagination. Suddenly, your loved one is no longer in their body, but has not entirely left. They find themselves floating, suspended in a space between life and eternity. From above, they see everything. Their own body lies still, surrounded by faces full of pain, tears, and despair. But your loved one is in another place, a place from which they observe what is happening, a spectator of their own death. This moment is one of the most striking experiences a person can have after death, because the body without spirit is dead. Now, without the body that was their home for years, your loved one is pure spirit and perceives everything with a clarity they had never experienced before. They see those they love, witness their pain, hear their sobs, and feel their suffering as if it were their own. It is a moment both devastating and profound. They see the love surrounding them, a love so great that tears fall like rain. They realize how much they meant to others and how their departure has left an irreplaceable void. But there is more. From that place of observation, your loved one can say goodbye, offer a final farewell. There are no words, but the message is conveyed in a language beyond human, a language of the soul. The spirit itself testifies to our spirit. This testimony is profound, filled with love, gratitude, and peace. It is a farewell that, though silent, resonates deeply in the hearts of those left behind. The spirit itself communicates with the spirits of the living and bears witness to the final goodbye. Here reflection arises. a truth we all carry within us, even if we hide it deep within. Death is not the end. It is a step, a transition, a transformation. In that moment, when your loved one observes from above, they understand that life is not measured by the years lived but by the love given, the bonds created, the impact left on those who mourn them. Then I heard a voice from heaven say, "Write this. Blessed are the dead who die in the Lord from now on. Yes," says the Spirit, "they will rest from their labor, for their deeds will follow them." What your loved one sees from above reflects the life they lived. It is a moment of personal judgment, not of condemnation, but of pure truth. At that moment, they realize what truly matters: love, compassion, the memories left behind. And though they are no longer in their body, their presence remains strong. Their spirit bids farewell but does not fade, leaving an indelible mark on the hearts of those who loved them. This is a moment charged with tension and overflowing emotions, but also with profound peace, because in that silent farewell, your loved one understands that although life on earth has ended, love does not die. Love never ceases to be, and that is the most powerful truth of all, the one that ultimately transcends death. Number 4, they visit the dreams of living people to say goodbye. Sometimes after passing away, people stay in this plane for a short time to visit places they need or want to see for various reasons. One reason is to say goodbye to other family members who were not present when they departed and want to offer them comfort. For this reason, there are cases where people have seen in dreams or in presence relatives who did not know they had already passed away. But just at the moment they see them is when that person has just died. They travel as energy that moves through the dreams of the people they love. Your loved one felt the last breath escape their body, and at that moment, everything changed. They were no longer a prisoner of pain or the weight of the flesh. Now they were light, pure energy. But they did not leave immediately. Something kept them in this world, a force stronger than death itself: love. From their new perspective, your loved ones saw everything with overwhelming clarity. They knew they had left their body behind, but they were not yet ready to fully depart. There were places they needed to visit, farewells they had yet to give. It was as if a final task called them, a sacred mission before crossing to the other side. First, your loved one went to see their sister. They were not in the room when she passed away, and that tormented them. They found her asleep, her face weary from crying. They approached, leaned over her, and although there were no words, their presence said it all. It was not an angel, but their mission at that moment was to offer comfort and peace. Their sister, though still asleep, felt a sudden relief, a calm that flooded her being. At that instant she knew everything would be okay, but it was not just for your loved one. They knew there were others who needed to say goodbye, even if they did not know it. Perhaps a cousin they hadn't seen in years, an old friend they had never forgotten. To each of them they left a final trace of their essence in dreams or an unexpected breeze. They appeared, and although they were not consciously aware, deep in their souls, they understood that this visit was their farewell. In their final journey they understood something they had not seen in life: that death is not the end, but a transition. Love never ceases to be, and just as energy, as light, they moved through the places and people they loved, leaving a spark of their love in each one. They knew that when they finally crossed to the other side, those sparks would continue to shine in the hearts of those they left behind. Finally, the moment arrived for your loved one. They had said their goodbyes, given comfort, and closed all chapters. Now they felt the call of the eternal, a deep peace inviting them to rest. With one last look, they let go, knowing they had fulfilled their mission. He will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death or mourning or crying or pain, for the old order of things has passed away. Your loved one faded into the light, but their presence, love, and the marks they left would continue in this world, in the hearts of those they touched forever. Number 5, they see their own life like a movie. In 5th place, as they transcend, they begin to see their life as if it were a movie, both the good and the bad moments. They want to know if they made the most of their life and if they were happy. Their life unfolds before them like a film, a sequence of images, sounds, and emotions. Every moment, from childhood days to final breaths, passes before their eyes with heartbreaking clarity. There is no room for lies or illusions. Everything is seen as it was because there is nothing concealed that will not be disclosed or hidden that will not be made known. This is the naked truth, a summary of a life revealed in its entirety. Your loved one observes the good moments, days of pure happiness when laughter filled rooms and love seemed eternal. But they also see the difficult times, the mistakes, the decisions made in darkness, the words they wish they could take back. For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, that each one may receive what is due him for the things done while in the body, whether good or bad. This is not a judgment in a condemning sense, but a review, an opportunity to truly understand the life they lived. Your loved one wonders if they were happy, if they made the most of each day, if they loved enough, if they lived with purpose. It is a deep reflection that touches the innermost fibers of their being because, in the end, what matters is not only what was done, but how it was lived. Teach us to number our days aright, that we may gain a heart of wisdom. In this space between worlds, the wisdom of a life well lived is what they seek. Amidst all this, your loved one realizes something essential. Life was not perfect, but it was filled with moments that defined their essence. The laughter, the tears, the triumphs, and the falls all had a purpose, a meaning that might not have been understood in life, but is now revealed with astonishing clarity. In this final review, your loved one is not alone. The divine presence accompanies them, guiding them through this journey of self-evaluation. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. From the beginning to the end, God was there in every moment, and now reveals the complete truth of their existence. At the end of this process, your loved one understands that happiness was not a destination, but the journey traveled. True wealth was not in material things, but in shared moments, acts of love, and the search for inner peace. With this understanding, they feel at peace, ready to continue their journey to the eternal, knowing that their life, with all its imperfections, was lived fully. And so, with this final revelation, your loved one says goodbye to this life with a sense of fulfillment. For though it was not always easy, every moment was worth it. I have fought the good fight, I have finished the race, I have kept the faith. And now, with a light heart and a peaceful spirit, your loved one moves forward toward the light that awaits them. Number 6, they see an intense light. Those who have had a near-death experience often describe a great light, a profound sense of peace, or a vision of a beautiful place, a paradise they do not want to leave but must return from because their time has not yet come. However, for those whose moment has indeed arrived, that light is the place they are heading toward, the site where they are guided and where they will live. In that beautiful place, often described in Christian tradition, the experience of seeing a light at the moment of death is interpreted as an encounter with the divine presence, the glory of God, or entry into his kingdom. This light symbolizes the guidance and love of God that leads the soul to eternal life. The Bible, while not explicitly describing the experience of light at death, offers several verses that help understand this concept within the Christian faith. In the Bible, God is described as light, symbolizing his holiness, purity, and glory. In John 1:5 it says, God is light, in him there is no darkness at all. This light represents the truth and eternal life that God offers to all who believe in him. When someone is on their deathbed and sees a light, Christians interpret it as an approach to the Creator, who is described as pure and radiant light. Jesus himself presents himself as the light of the world in John 8:12, saying, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness but will have the light of life. This verse underscores that those who have followed Christ during their lives will not walk in darkness at death, but will be guided by the light to eternal life. The vision of light at the moment of death can be seen as the fulfilled promise of being guided to the kingdom of God. In the book of Revelation, describing the New Jerusalem, it says that the city does not need the sun or the moon to shine on it, for the glory of God gives it light, and the Lamb is its lamp. This apocalyptic image reinforces the idea that the light seen by the dying is a preview of God's glory, a welcome into the divine presence in heaven. As your loved one moved toward the light, everything became clearer. They realized that life on earth was just preparation, a stage before reaching this final destination. For whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for me and for the gospel will save it. Here, in this place of peace, they understood that the true purpose of life was to prepare for this moment, to reach this place where the soul finds its eternal home. And so, with one last look at the world they were leaving behind, your loved one surrendered completely to the light. There was no sadness, no painful goodbyes, only a profound sense of fulfillment in having accomplished their purpose. At that moment they knew they were exactly where they needed to be, in the place where they would live forever in peace and harmony. Number 7. They see the purpose of their life. In seventh place, our loved ones discover important revelations about their existence and purpose. They learn that everything they have lived through was for their spiritual evolution, that nothing happens by chance and that everything was a choice of their own. They realize that their path has been fruitful, as their spiritual evolution has been considerable. Your loved one has crossed the threshold of death and now finds themselves in a space where time and space dissolve into pure consciousness. There is no more pain or confusion, only an overwhelming clarity that reveals deep truths about the life they left behind. In this state, they begin to comprehend something they had never perceived with such intensity before. Everything, absolutely everything, has had a purpose. As their consciousness floats in this new plane of existence, a powerful revelation unfolds before them. Every moment of their life, from the most insignificant to the most transcendental, was part of an intricate design. Nothing was random. Everything has its time, and everything under the heaven has its hour. Now they understand that each joy, each suffering, each decision made was part of a greater plan, one that they themselves had chosen before birth. Your loved one discovers that their existence was not just a passage of days, but a journey toward spiritual evolution. All the challenges they faced, the trials they overcame, were not punishments or mere misfortune, but lessons, opportunities to grow, to refine the soul like a diamond under pressure. He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. That work, they now know, was their own spiritual development, and every step in their life was a step toward the perfection of their spirit. The intensity of this revelation is profound. It is a moment of pure introspection where the full weight of their decisions and experiences falls upon them. Was their life fruitful? Did they fulfill the purpose for which they came into the world? With overwhelming clarity, they understand that, yes, their life was a success, not in worldly terms, but in terms of the soul. Their spirit has grown, evolved, and learned the lessons they came to learn. But with this understanding comes a deep reflection. They realize that in life, many times we are carried away by superficial things, by immediate concerns, forgetting that we are here for something greater than simply existing. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. At that moment, your loved one realizes that true transformation is not achieved by accumulating wealth or seeking recognition, but by cultivating the spirit, loving, forgiving, and learning. With each revelation, peace envelops them. There are no more doubts or regrets, only a profound understanding that everything they lived through had a purpose. Every tear, every smile, every act of love, and every mistake were essential pieces of a puzzle now seen in its entirety. And we know that in all things, God works for the good of those who love Him. In death, this truth shines clearer than ever. Everything, even what seemed inexplicable, has been for their good, for their spiritual growth. And so, with this new understanding, your loved one feels ready to continue their journey. They have fulfilled their mission on earth, learned what they needed to learn, and are now prepared for what comes next. They know their path does not end here, that the evolution of the soul continues in the hereafter, but they do so with the peace of knowing they have given their best, that they have lived a full and meaningful life. In this final moment of revelation, they bid farewell with love, leaving a legacy of wisdom and growth. Their earthly journey has come to an end, but their spirit moves forward, filled with peace, wisdom, and the certainty that everything has been as it should be. Number 8. They see the beyond. As they move toward the light, they begin to see other people, those who departed before them, loved ones waiting with open arms. Blessed are those who are invited to the marriage supper of the Lamb. Here, in this place beyond what mortal eyes can see, souls gather in a reunion filled with joy. There is no more pain, no more suffering, only the purity of love that transcends death. But what they see is not just a reunion. As they continue to advance, the surroundings transform into an indescribably beautiful landscape. It is unlike anything they have seen on Earth, yet at the same time, everything feels familiar. It is as if the paradise they once imagined in life has become a reality before their eyes. To the one who is victorious, I will give the right to sit with me on my throne, just as I was victorious and sat down with my Father on his throne. This is the place that was promised to them, a home eternal where all promises are fulfilled. This new heaven and new earth are majestic, free from the blemish and corruption of the old world. The colors are more vivid, the air is purer, and every step they take leads to a place where everything is perfect and immaculate. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and there was no more sea. Entering this new realm, your loved one finds themselves in the holy city, the New Jerusalem. In the book of Revelation, the streets are paved with pure gold, as clear as glass. There is no night here because the presence of God illuminates every corner. The walls are adorned with all kinds of precious stones, and the gates, made of giant pearls, are always open, inviting all who have been redeemed. As they walk through these glorious streets, your loved one realizes they are not alone. They are surrounded by angels, beings of incomparable beauty and purity, who accompany them with soft and melodious songs. And I heard the voice of many angels around the throne, and of the living creatures and of the elders, and their number was 10,000 times 10,000, and thousands of thousands. These angels guide them to the throne of God, where everything culminates in a vision of divine majesty and power. Finally, they reach the throne where they see God himself, surrounded by a light so intense it cannot be looked at directly, but whose presence is felt in every fiber of their being. And I saw the one sitting on the throne, and the appearance of his face was like jasper and carnelian, and there was a rainbow around the throne, like an emerald. Number 9, they see and recognize God. In that moment, the soul becomes aware of its new life and feels full and radiant. Your loved one has reached the end of their earthly life, and with the last beat of their heart, everything known fades into a whisper. Suddenly, they find themselves in a completely different place, a space where time dissolves and peace envelops them. There is no more pain, no more fear, only a profound calm that fills every corner of their being. At that instant, they become aware of a presence that has always been with them, although they may never have perceived it so clearly. It is an overwhelming sensation, an indescribable force that surrounds them and fills them with a love so pure and perfect that words cannot describe it. For now we see through a glass, darkly, but then face to face. For the first time, your loved one sees with clarity what they previously only sensed: the presence of God. What follows is an encounter that transcends any earthly experience. Before their eyes, a brilliant light more intense than any sun appears, but this light does not blind, it reveals. At its center, your loved one sees God not as a distant, inaccessible figure, but as the very source of all goodness and all truth. In that light, they recognize themselves not just as a finite being, but as part of God's eternal plan. It is a moment of pure revelation where all doubts and fears dissipate in the presence of God. Your loved one feels a peace so deep that no earthly experience could match it. In his presence there is fullness of joy, pleasures forevermore. Here, in this sacred encounter, there is no judgment or condemnation, only an unconditional love that wraps around them like a warm cloak. But amidst this peace, there is also a sense of awe and overwhelming wonder. For seeing God is not just seeing a light or feeling a presence, it is understanding completely, for the first time, who God is and what it means to be part of his creation. Before this reality, your loved one understands that God is not just the creator, but the beginning and the end of everything that exists. In this encounter, they realize that every moment of their life was known by God, that every step they took led them to this moment of truth. Even before a word is on my tongue, you, Lord, know it completely. It is a profound realization that fills them with gratitude and wonder. The weight of life, with its joys and sorrows, fades in the light of this understanding. Finally, in this encounter, there is a fusion of souls, a moment when your loved one no longer feels separated from God, but completely united with him. It is a return home, a reunion with the source of all love and all life, for in him we live and move and have our being. At this moment, your loved one not only sees God, but knows him in a way that transcends any earthly knowledge. This encounter with God is the climax of everything your loved one has lived through. It is the end of their earthly journey and the beginning of their eternity in the presence of the divine. With this revelation and understanding, your loved one surrenders completely, knowing they are in the arms of a love that never ends, in the presence of a God who has known and loved them since before time began. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. And so, with indescribable peace, your loved one loses themselves in the eternal light of God, where they have finally found their true home. To conclude, from this channel called The Power of Words, we want to thank you for the support you have given us since we began creating videos. Blessings to you and your family. Now the chapters. The 9 things people see when they die are as follows. They see loved ones who departed before them. They feel a detachment from their material possessions. They see their own body from above. They visit the dreams of living people to say goodbye. They view their own life like a movie. They see an intense light and they discover the purpose of their life, and they see the beyond and they see and recognize God. If you were surprised by what people see when they die, you cannot miss the next video that will appear on the screen about how to communicate with your guardian angel. This is very important because, as Father Pio explained, your guardian angel can help send messages to your deceased loved ones. They can also provide comfort or help you find a way to continue life after a loss. Many people have also reported receiving help from their guardian angel to overcome a difficult family moment. In the video, we reveal the hidden power of communicating correctly with our guardian angel, based on someone as important as Father Pio. See you in the next video.